Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilman bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma shalli wa sallim wa barik ala sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatih lima ughliq wal khatim lima sabaq nasirul haqq bil haqq wal hadi ila siratikal mustaqim wa ala alihi wa sahbihi haqqa qadrihi wa miqdarihi al-azim. Alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight. First of all, please allow me to make a sincere apology that I'm not an expert, as Justin mentioned. I'm just a student of knowledge. It's true that I'm in the process of translating Ayyuhal Walad into Malay, and with some commentaries and introduction. So when Madina approached that I should be speaking something, then I feel that this is the best book to share with my brothers and sisters. And please, in the first place, I feel not appropriate for me to sit on this chair, the chair that was used by Sayyidi Maulana Sheikh Ninawi. You know, it is an adab that for a student, you never sit a chair where your teacher sits. So it is an adab. So for tonight, it's okay, because you don't have any other chair. But next time, make sure this chair is put aside. I would rather prefer to sit on the floor with you all. It is not that I'm teaching you. It's just that I'm sharing with you, because some of you might know more than what I've learned, and we are just sharing. And inshallah, please, we try to benefit from each other from this majlis. And please share with me as well what you have in your mind, what you have learned before, and don't regard me as a sheikh like great Sheikh Ninawi or Sheikh Abdul Aziz. No, I'm not like that. And please be free to give your opinions and your suggestions or your arguments, and I'm open. So tonight is our first session, and I actually this book has about 25 advice by Imam Ghazali. It's not really advice in the sense that advice number one, advice number two. No, it is a letter written by Imam Ghazali to his student in response to his students' questions and seeking advice from him. But later the scholar came up with numbering, number one, number two. So basically, some put it 25, some classified it as 20, 22, 27. And for our first session tonight, I'm going to speak on Imam Ghazali briefly, and then at the end perhaps I go and I'll touch a little bit on this book, on Ayyuhal Walad. I prepared some slides so that my speech, my presentation will not be haywire. It will be a bit consistent. So don't worry if you cannot see from this side the presentation. It's just perhaps for my own way of presentation. So this Al-Ghazali Ayyuhal Walad basically is not a book on Sufi per se. It's a book on worldview of Islam. It's a book on worldview of Islam, because Al-Ghazali touches in the book various aspects of Islam, from aims of a Muslim, objective of life, your age, your time management, your what knowledge that you should seek, So many things Al-Ghazali discussed in this book. So basically, it's not a Sufi book per se, but this book is a worldview of Islam's book. So, okay. First of all, Al-Ghazali, Imam Ghazali, I think we know about him, or we have heard of him many times, and in this region of Santara, especially, we are so-called Ghazalian. Ghazalian in the sense that we follow the way of Al-Ghazali. For your information, I think previously we have learned this in previous classes, that Islam is composed of three components. There is a Hadith Jibril. You remember Hadith Jibril? Hadith Jibril, when Jibril came, or Gabriel came to the Prophet ﷺ, when the Prophet was sitting with the Sahaba, he came and he sat exactly touching the Prophet and put his hands on the Prophet lap, and he asked the Prophet, what is Islam? Ma huwa al-Islam? What is Islam? So the Prophet said, Islam, anta shahada an la ilaha illallah, you say shahada and go on, and prayer and so on. So we can see that the three components of Islam, I just want to, three components of Islam. Used to be a lecturer, so get used to the whiteboard, you cannot avoid. So there is a three component of Islam. So this is three component of Islam. So Islam, you know the Rukun Islam, right? Of course we know Rukun Islam. 5 things: Shahada, fasting, zakat, hajj. What else? One more. Salat, prayer. So this is Islam. So basically this is Islam. And then the Jibril said, Sadaqta, yeah, you are true. And then the Prophet, then the angel Jibril asked him again, what is Iman? Ma huwa al-Iman? So he answered, how many? 6. So 6 component here. Allah, Rasul, books, kitab, hereafter. What else? Angels. And then Qada and Qadar, right? So the angel said, Sadaqta, you are true. And then the last one, he said, Mahwa Ihsan. Ihsan, the Prophet answered, An ta'budallah ka'annaka tarah, fa illam takun tarahu fa innahu yaraka. An ta'budallah. Salam, ahlan. Please, you can come forward. An ta'budallah, you worship Allah. An ta'budallah ka'annaka tarah, as if you see him. Fa illam takun tarahu, if you don't see him, believe that he sees you. Believe that he sees you. This is ihsan. This is ihsan. So you worship Allah as though you see him. If you don't see him, believe that, feel that Allah sees you. All these 3 components made up Islam as a religion. You know what the Prophet said to Umar? Do you know Umar who came? Do you know Umar who came just now? Some scholars said after 3 days. Do you know Umar who came the other day? Umar said, Allah wa Rasuluhu a'lam. Huwa Jibril. The Prophet said, he is Jibril. Why he came? Yu'allimukum dinakum. He came to teach you your religion. When that meeting, the Jibril, there's one more here, which I am not concerned, is the signs of doomsday. Huh? Signs of doomsday. All the signs also mentioned here. So we are not concerned about that. But we are concerned about these three components here. One is Islam, one is Iman, one is Ihsan. This thing you have to be clear. Everyone as a Muslim, we have to bear in mind that this is Islam. These three components is our religion, Deen. The problem is that sometimes we don't feel these three components in our life. We only feel perhaps prayer, for example, or Islam and Iman, but not Ihsan. Gradually, these three components, they came to know now as a discipline of knowledge which we call fiqh. This is called fiqh now. This is called fiqh. What we call now this branch of, very good, aqidah, or you call them also tawheed, huh? Or you call in English they call it creed or faith, whatever. This is fiqh, or in English jurisprudence. Alhamdulillah, in our country and in everywhere in the world, we are doing very well with this, Islam and Iman, but not with this. Not with Ihsan. What is Ihsan? Ihsan gradually become what we know now as a Tasawwuf or Sufism. You can call whatever you want. Some people call it Tazkiyatun Nafs, Tazkiyah and Nafs, or Nufus. Some people call Akhlaq. Some people call Ilmu Ihsan. Some people call purification of the heart, whatever. But basically this is Ihsan. This is Ihsan. So it depends on how you want to call, but this is Ihsan. So basically what I'm going to talk tonight, or what Al-Ghazali specializes in, all this knowledge, but later stage of his life, he's more concerned with this knowledge, Ihsan. He's more concerned with this Ihsan. We have problems with our society today basically because of this, because we are lacking on Ihsan, Akhlaq. Because here we'll deal with physical. Here we deal with physical. You know, this is physical. This is your physical aspect. Your prayer. This is basically your akal aspect. This is basically, sometimes people put it akal aspect. Sometimes people say mind. Whereas actually it's just the same. But this one is basically your spiritual aspect, your spiritual spiritual aspect. So we are concerned with this, but not with this. Whereas this is what now, one of the names also here, Ikhlas, Ilmu Ikhlas. This is also one of the aspects of spiritual. Okay, this is a background. So Al-Ghazali is later stage of his life. He's more devoted to spirituality. But at his early stage, he was a faqih, fiqh. He was a kalam, mutakallim. Also, you can call this kalam. can call this also kalam. So there are so many names here. Don't worry about the name, just so that you, whenever you come across, you know that what they are referring to. So these three branches of what composed of Islam, we have to learn. This is fardu ain. You remember any one of you who attended the class on Essential of Islam last time with Sheikh Ayman, Dr. Ayman? Basically in that book, three components of this discussed. In that book, these three components, Islam, Iman and Ihsan, have been discussed in that book, the Essential of Islam. So that's the introduction. So Al-Ghazali Al-Ghazali was born in 1058, 448 after Hijrah. He died in 111 Christian era. He lived for 53 years. He died at such a young age, you know. But he produced more than 200 books. MashaAllah. Without MacBook, without computers, without copy-paste. Okay, and his son, he has a son. Some scholars say he has a son by the name of Hamid. Some said he doesn't have, but according to his name, Abu Hamid refers to his son, the father of Hamid. Do you know laqab, kunya, and laqab, kunya, and nisbah? So his name is Abu Hamid. So Al-Ghazali is his nisbah, kunya, and laqab. He has several daughters, and his brother Ahmad, and his father was a very pious man. So his son died at early stage. Okay, I don't want to go into details of this. Okay, about his father. His father, before his father passed away, he called a pious guy in the village to take care of his two sons, Al-Ghazali and Ahmad, his brother. So Al-Ghazali was, when the father died, Al-Ghazali was entrusted to be under the custodian of this pious guy, and his father also left some money to raise Al-Ghazali until the money exhausted. So the pious guy put him to a school, to a madrasah, and he studied there with his brother for a few years, and he studied with many scholars there. I will show you after this, including one of the greatest scholars of that time. It was Imam Al-Juwayni, Imam Al-Haramain Al-Juwayni. He was the best scholar at that time. Okay, Al-Ghazali is regarded as a mujaddid of his century. Al-Ghazali is a mujaddid. You know mujaddid? Mujaddid is a renewer, reviver. One who revived a religion. One who revived the religion. During the time of the first century, it's said that the reviver of the first century is Umar Abdul Aziz. The second century was Imam Shafi'i, and it goes on. The third century, Al-Baqilani, and so on. So during the fourth century, it is Imam. The fifth century, it is Imam Ghazali. There is an hadith for this. Inna Allaha yab'asu li hazil umma ala ra'si kulli mi'atin sanatim man yujaddidu laha dinaha. This is a hadith. This is an authentic hadith. Verily Allah sends to this ummah at the head of every 100 years someone who will renew the deen. So there is mujaddid. Every 100 years there will be a mujaddid. But some scholars disagree on who is mujaddid for that century, for that period, for that 100 years. Sometimes they come up with 3, 4. But during this fifth century, everyone, as if like unanimously agreed, it was Imam Ghazali. Imam Ghazali was the mujaddid during his time. Why he is called Hujjatul Islam? Imam Ghazali was called Hujjatul Islam because whenever he entered debates with anyone, he won the debate. He never lost any debate. Not in his lifetime, ever. But now people attack him when he died. I wish those people who attack him should have lived during his time and debated with him. So, Imam Ghazali debated with Batinids, with Shiite, Ismailites, with many people, and he won all the debates, and he was regarded as the Hujjatul Islam, proof of Islam. There is no one else got the title, the honorific title Hujjatul Islam except Imam Ghazali, rahimahullah ta'ala. No one else. But you can find Shaykhul Islam, many people got it. Shaykhul Islam Zakaria Al-Ansari, Shaykhul Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, Shaykhul Islam, many people got Shaykhul Islam. But as Hujjatul Islam, when you hear people say Hujjatul Islam, there's only one Hujjatul Islam in this world. Who? Imam Ghazali. But when you say Shaykhul Islam, many. Okay? So these are his teachers. So Al-Ghazali, he studied in the morning session, he studied with one sheikh, one guru, Ahmad Raddakhani, and also and then in the afternoon he went to study with Abu Ali al-Fadl al-Farmadi, it's a Sufi. He studied fiqh and he also studied Sufi. So he have to study two places at the same time. So his career, when his name is when people heard of his name, and the government, the sultans during that time, the wazir Nizam al-Mulk heard of him, heard of his knowledge, expertise. He invited him to Isfahan and be the advisor to the sultan, to the kingdom. So he worked for a while, and in 1091 he was appointed as the vice chancellor, we call it now, like vice chancellor of Nizamiyah. You know, at such an young age, he was about 30 plus. So he bypassed all other senior shuyukh alim. He bypassed them and be the head of Nizamiyah Madrasa in Baghdad. So you can imagine how Al-Ghazali life, how he came to fame. People talking about him everywhere. When he talks, thousands of people, not like this, just 20 people. When Al-Ghazali gives speech, 1,000 people attended his talk. And so one time he suffered from spiritual crisis, because he felt that he's not sincere anymore. He felt that he's doing this for fame. He's doing this not for Allah. And then he feel that what is the truth actually, the reality, the haqiqah. So he suffered from this spiritual crisis. You know, he inside him debating this and that, you know. So until one day he could not speak. You imagine Imam Ghazali went to a talk like this, 1,000 people, and he could not speak. Allah took his voice. He could not speak. He cannot speak. So because of that, he decided to take a break, and he said he wanted to go for Hajj. So he disappeared for a few years. He went to Damascus, he went to Palestine, he went to Mecca, Madina, he made Hajj, and then he came back as a different man. He came back as a different man. Before, he was a scholar. He was a scholar in fiqh. He was a scholar in aqidah. He was a scholar in everything. He was a scholar in philosophy. He wrote books on philosophy. You know, Al-Ghazali, when he wanted to attack philosophy, Greek philosophy, what he did? What did he do? He studied philosophy. He studied philosophy very well. This is what we are lacking now. You know, this is what we are lacking now. He studied philosophy very well until he mastered Greek philosophy from A to Z. Mastered very well. Once he mastered that, he came up with a book, Maqasid al-Falasifah, the aims or objective of philosophy. He wrote a book, and people read his book, and people know what philosophy is all about. They know it very well. And they regard him as a scholar in philosophy because of his mastery of the subject, philosophy. And then he came up a few years later with another book, Tahafut al-Falasifah. He attacked philosophy. You see? He attacked philosophy. He showed to people where the mistakes of the philosophers. This is what we are lacking now. For example, in our day today's, our ustaz, our asatiza, including myself, we are confronting with so many ideologies, atheism, liberalism, and whatnot. But we don't go into details of that subject. You don't know what the arguments of these people. For example, I read Richard Dawkins' God delusion. The arguments of God delusion, the argument of atheists by him, is very sophisticated. It's very sophisticated. It's not just simply there's no God that we thought of. No. No. His argument is very sophisticated. We have to learn, and if we want to rebut him, we have to know what he's talking about. Otherwise, he's just brushing aside. Oh, atheism is the shirk. No. You have to know what atheism is, and once you have mastered the philosophy, the principles of atheism, the modern atheism, for example, then you go and attack. This is what Syekh Hamzah Yusuf also said. The same thing. We don't study the ideologies now, and because of that, our scholars, our Muslim scholars, are lacking on the contemporary issues, on the modern ideologies, and we just brush up like that. So what Al-Ghazali did when he discovered that Greek philosophy is not in tandem with Islamic teachings, what he did, he studied philosophy, he mastered philosophy, Greek philosophy, until he knew very well about philosophy, and then he lists down all the the principles of philosophy, and then he came up with another book criticizing what the fundamental of Greek philosophy is, what are the flaws and what are the weaknesses and what are the wrongs of the philosophy. This is what we should be doing, you know. This is what we should be doing, especially the asatiza, the ustaz. Okay. So he wrote more than 200 works. His magnum opus, I think you know, Ihya Ulumuddin. Everyone knows that. You have heard of the name, Ihya Ulumuddin. I thought of bringing it, but it's 4 volumes. So next time. So Ihya Ulumuddin. But he has many other books, and this is one of his books. This is one of his books. Why I chose this book? This is one of his books that he wrote at the end of his life. You see? So, meaning that all his knowledge and everything is here. Is here. So, you can understand his thought by reading this book. Everything is there. So, when I read it with few shuyukh. Even Sheikh Ninawi also, Sayyidi also have audio clipping. This you can go and download from the app store. I think you can listen, but I think it's not a full set. So he wrote many books, as I said, and his influence is so much influenced the Western world, Muslim world, even the Christian world. Even St. Thomas Aquinas also influenced by him. You can imagine St. Thomas Aquinas influenced by him. And Al-Ghazali, for your information, Al-Ghazali works until now. People wrote about him until now in the West. People make PhD. People come up with PhD on Al-Ghazali. Imagine how many 100 books written about him from Muslim world and from the Western world. He's such a fantastic scholar. So his thought, Al-Ghazali believed that Islamic spiritual tradition had become moribund. This is what I've taken from some of the books. And that spiritual sciences taught by the first generation had been forgotten. So at the end of his life, he's more concerned about spirituality, heart. So Al-Ghazali consolidated between Sufism, Tasawwuf and Sharia. Before Al-Ghazali, some Sufis do not follow Sharia. Okay, so you have to understand, when you talk about Sufism, there are people prior to Al-Ghazali, there are Sufis who do not follow Sharia. So Al-Ghazali clearly attacks these people. So the problem is, when Al-Ghazali wrote his book, he attacked those Sufis. People say Al-Ghazali also against Sufi. No, Al-Ghazali attacked false Sufis. Not true Sufis, false Sufis. Even you find in earlier scholars like Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, you find their sayings quoted by anti-Sufi people, saying that Imam Malik also against Sufi, Imam Shafi'i against Sufi. No, they against false Sufi. You have to know, you have to clearly separate between false Sufi and true Sufi. Just like we Muslims, there are practicing Muslims, there are non-practicing Muslims. So you don't blame Islam because there are certain people who do not practice Islam. You have terrorism, for example, terrorist people, and you blame the Islam for that? No, those people, they are out of Islam. They have nothing to do with us. This is not teaching of Islam. They are terrorists. So you just attack them. Don't attack Islam. So similarly, Sufism also the same thing. Sufism, there are false Sufis. Sufis pretenders, behaving as if he's Sufis, wearing patch clothes and so on, but they are not Sufis. Because true Sufi must combine between Sufism and Sharia. True Sufi will pray, will give zakah, will go for Hajj. This is true Sufi. But the false Sufi, I don't like to use false Sufi, but anyway, you have to use it. Because if you're false Sufi, you are not Sufi anyway, right? Just like you are, not practicing Muslim. How can you be a Muslim if you are not practicing Muslim? But it's okay for the, for the speaking sake. And so all Sufis have to follow the Sharia. This is what Al-Ghazali did. Before him, there were many people who did not follow. The Sufis claim Sufis, but they did not follow the Sharia. They did not follow. Even in our country, we have those people. We are now in the stage of hakikat. We don't have to pray. This is all Syariat. Ini kulit-kulit je ni, semayang-semayang ni kulit-kulit je. We have this, we pray batin. When you know Allah, you don't have to pray. And all this you heard from this so-called guru-guru, syekh-syekh in kampung-kampung. All the ajaran sesat, the deviant groups, you heard this most. That's why we have, if you go to JAKIM or you go to Majlis Agama Islam Selangor, you find list of deviant groups. Tarikat ni, Hasan anak harimau, ayah pen lah, apalah. All sorts of people claiming that they are Sufis. But they are not, they are deviant. So Al-Ghazali is known as Sufi more than social reformer, but actually he's a social reformer. He tried to reform his society. If you read Kindergarten, I have the book, I'm reading it. You read Kindergarten, the first revival of Islam, Al-Ghazali, you find that Al-Ghazali is talking about reviving the society, bringing them to love akhirah, bringing them to love akhirah. Do not worship the world. Yeah. We now more concentrating on the world. You know, Al-Ghazali mentions about everyone in this world, they are looking for one thing. They are looking for happiness. They are looking for happiness. So Imam Ghazali is quoting Sayyidina Ali. He said, why are we so we actually don't know what is the aim and what is the end and what is the means. So you know the end is happiness. You know that you are looking for the end, happiness. But unfortunately you are more concerned with the means of the happiness, not the end itself. For example, if people love so much of the wealth, we ask him or we ask them, why do you want to have a lot of money? Because I want to buy this, I want to have a big house, and then I want this, and then ultimately, finally, the answer is, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. So basically, it's not the wealth itself, it is the happiness. So the happiness that you are looking for. So for Al-Ghazali, he said, it is wrong for you to concentrate on your happiness with the ends. Don't confuse your ends with the means. Because your means is just your external thing, whereas the happiness is inside here. You understand? The happiness is not outside. The happiness is here. Ultimately, what you want to achieve with the happiness, it is not the outside. It's not the money, but here. You think the money can bring you happiness? No. For that reason, you find Al-Ghazali mentioned, Imam Ali says about the best drinks in the world is water. It's just water, the best drink in this world. The best scents, the best perfume is just musk. Musk is coming from deer, right? The best food, for example, is honey. Honey is coming from bee. Again, animal. The best cloth from silk, right? Again, just waste of sick worm. And finally, the best pleasure is your sexual pleasure, right? What is that? It's just a meeting of two urinary tracts. So what is that? Is that happiness you can get from those things? No. Ghazali said that's not happiness. That's pleasure. That's pleasure. That doesn't last long. So you have to differentiate between happiness and pleasure. For us, we should not seek for pleasures. We should seek for happiness, because that is long lasting, that is eternal, that is forever. You don't seek for pleasures because it doesn't last long. How long can you drink water? How long you can eat honey, for example? How long you can have sex with your no, just for just few minutes, drink, and then after that you'll be satiated, finish, full. So what is you looking for? You're looking for happiness. So where happiness lies? Happiness is in the heart. So if you really want to have happiness, so purify your heart. So then you will have happiness. Not looking for the outside things. So Al-Ghazali is known during his time and after him, and there are people who, for example, As-Subki says that if there had been a prophet, لو كان النبي بعد محمد لكان Al-Ghazali. So If there had been a prophet after Muhammad, then it would have been Imam Ghazali. I think there's many things here I have presented. So there are also people who criticize him. There are people who criticize Imam Ghazali. There are three things that normally people criticize him. One, they said Imam Ghazali used the Greek philosophy framework in his teachings. So this is also not true, not quite true. He used certain terms, he used certain Greek terms in order to explain to people, but he is not influenced by Greek philosopher. He is not at all influenced by Greek philosopher, but for argument's sake, he has to use Greek terms, because you don't have Greek, you don't have Muslim term, in other words. For example, in Kalam, for example, you have Arad, you have Jawhar, you have Jisim. You don't have that in our tradition, but they exist, these words in Greek traditions. And then he was also accused of causing the decline of scientific advancement. So this is another accuse. People accuse him of being zuhud, for example, neglecting the world, which is also not true for him. For other Sufis, maybe. Other Sufis, they go and hide themselves. But for him, no. He lived in society. He helped the government. He advised the government, the rulers. He advised the society. And another thing, last thing, people accuse him of using weak hadith in Ihya, for example. This is very common now. I think you're aware of this. People said Ihya is full of weak hadith, don't use it. No, that's not right. If you study how Al-Ghazali method of writing Ihya, then you understand. First, Al-Ghazali begin with Quran. And then Al-Ghazali and Al-Ghazali second one, Al-Ghazali put hadith sahih. And then Al-Ghazali put hadith, weaker hadith, or anecdotes, and so on, hikayat, and so on and so forth. So it's just a corroborative, just a supporting argument for Quran and hadith sahih. Not really the fundamental, not really the core arguments. His core arguments already enough with the hadith and Quran sahih. So he died 505 at the age of 53. So this is one documentary film. If you go Google YouTube, you find this. Al-Ghazali, The Alchemist of Happiness. It's about 1 hour plus. I watched this, very nice. It's not really a film, it's a documentary. In between you find Syekh Hamzah Yusuf was interviewed. Dr. Abdul Hakim Murad was interviewed also. So you can understand this. If you watch this movie or documentary, then perhaps you can understand better. Okay, so that's all for Al-Ghazali. So lastly, it's about this book. I briefly informed you just now. This book is basically, it's not a book. This is not a book. This is a letter. This is a letter written by his student to him, asking his master to advise him. And according to some scholars, this is a advanced scholar, advanced student, not ordinary, not beginner student. This is advanced student who seek his advice after so many years study with him. Oh, my master, please advise me. I have learned a lot from you. You will find the beginning of this letter. I have learned a lot from you, but I don't know which knowledge is useful, which knowledge is not useful. Please advise me what I should be doing. So basically, the student asks his master to summary for him, to do summary for him, what he should be doing in his life for the next few years. So because of that, Imam Ghazali wrote back the letter, and the ulama compiled this and became a book, Ayyuhal Walad, Ayyuhal Walad al-Muhib. And it has been translated by many. We don't want to prolong this session, you see. So So 1 hour, because tomorrow everyone is working, I'm also working. So we just want to get the barakah of this meeting. And talking about, you know, when you talk about a scholar, Allah sends you rahmah, tanzil rahmah. When you discuss about scholar, Allah sends you rahmah. So we hope that Allah send rahmah to us here, insyaAllah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilman bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilaik. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa salam. Alhamdulillah. Qabbalallah. Please accept my apologies for any shortcomings. Assalamualaikum.